Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. It's Jax. Loud looking. If you don't know this term, it's kind of new. It's very Gen Z. And I think with everything, there's a bit of truth and a bit of hypersensitivity, a bit of, I don't know. If you don't know, loud looking is this idea where queer people are out and about, or just in general, people are just out and about and they get looks. You know, if you've ever seen a queer couple holding hands walking down the street and you've just taken an extra second to look and be like, wow, gay people out in the wild. Apparently that's called loud looking, and it applies not just to queer people, but Gen Z in general. I think Gen Z is very hyper fixated on other people's attention and whether people are watching them or ogling them or criticizing them silently. And so loud looking is this social psychological term where it's basically like weaponized look. And essentially from the Gen Z or the sensitive perspective, it's this very microaggression. It can be very damaging to one's self-worth. It can feel really unassuming or, sometimes very assuming. It's this thing where people look at you and kind of give you this look up and down. And Gen Z is not a fan of this. It is not the vibe for them, us, I guess. And I wanted to talk about it and all the nuances of it. So that's what loud looking is. Yeah, wow. When I heard this term, I was kind of confused at first because it's just people staring at you. And sure, not everyone's going to like you. We have to accept that. We have to deal with that. I'm sure there are people in your life who don't like you, and there are people who don't like me. Oh well, big whoop. They're not in our lives permanently, so why does it matter? But this idea really stems from this judgment. Basically, it's just judgment. It's this idea of perceived judgment. Oh my gosh, these people are looking at me. What do I do? Why are they doing this? How can I avoid this? It's a form of aggression. It's a form of, keeping queer people in their zone or keeping them out of sight. And I don't know, guys, this one's kind of a tricky one for me because I get it. When I've had relationships, I have avoided holding hands with my partner in public because you get judgment. Sometimes you get people who directly confront you. They'll come up to you and be like, Jesus loves you, please return to him. And it's like, I know he loves me. I know why, you're just saying this because you think I'm going to hell because I'm holding a dude's hand. So I've actively avoided being super flamboyant or being, I guess, my authentic self, whatever that means, in public. And I guess part of it is this loud looking thing. Honestly, if someone's going to just stare at me and my partner or just look at me funny for a few seconds, often little kids are really bad for this. And they're just like, Mommy, why are those two men holding hands? But in reality, that really doesn't affect me. If someone comes up to me and calls me the F slur, or they confront me in a very judgmental, confrontational, aggressive, passive aggressive kind of way, that's a lot more jarring and a lot more difficult to deal with than somebody just taking a few extra seconds to stare. And like I said, this concept does apply to most of Gen Z. I don't know, we're just a very sensitive, self-aware, freakishly worried about how we are perceived in public kind of generation. Whereas I feel like previous generations really didn't give a dang. And they were just like, whatever, people are going to stare. I don't care. And so this term of loud looking is kind of you're aggressively staring at somebody. And I don't necessarily know if I'm the perfect person to talk about this stuff because I find the whole idea of microaggressions really ridiculous. That's just part of life. I'm sorry. Sometimes people are not going to like you in public. Sometimes people are going to actively pretend you don't exist. Sometimes people are going to be very passive aggressive. And so this whole idea of microaggression, they're aggressing towards me, I feel unsafe, blah, 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 blah. That kind of stuff can only happen in a society where in general, we're pretty much okay. We're not getting thrown off buildings in Canada here. So this whole idea of microaggressions and then loud looking is kind of ridiculous to me. I guess like if you want to be like a totally considerate human being, don't stare, don't point at people, don't make off comments that are just derogatory or somehow insulting or rude or jarring for somebody. Like it's just having that decency and compassion, which I think should be a baseline, but clearly in 2025 we're still a little ways away from that. But loud looking is this, it's one of these like new Gen Z concepts, and this idea of like, no, you can't directly look at somebody, like don't make eye contact, don't engage, don't be social. And I don't know, it's just another thing that some people seem to take offense to, and I think it's just a very normal human thing. Like way before I was gay, way before anybody knew I was gay, I didn't know I was gay. You just stare at people. You just look at people. Sometimes you're like, man, this person's very attractive. Man, this person has great style. Man, this is a really weird human. Man, this person looks like a cartoon character. And so the idea that somehow staring at somebody or looking at somebody can be perceived as a personal attack is a little self-centered to me. Like it's a little narcissistic to think that the entire world revolves around you. And the other problem I have with loud looking is that it really has no long-term repercussions as long as you don't let them be repercussions. If I stare at a couple or something walking down the street, if that couple is very self-aware and very self-assured, they are not going to care. You know, it might be a funny convo in the moment, like, oh, look at this weirdo staring at us. But if it seriously affects you deeply and psychologically down to a point where you're considering changing your style or changing how you look or not holding your partner's hand in public, that's kind of a you problem. Like, I hate to break it to you, but I think Gen Z really wants to make their problems everyone else's problems. And I say that being a Gen Z, having a lot of these characteristics and a lot of this perspective, but at the end of the day, loud looking should not be something that you're worried about. And you know, they're using it as a term to call people out and say, oh my gosh, this person was loud looking at me. And I think that's just so offensive. So at the end of the day, it's really a personal problem. I'm sorry. It's just not like if they're actively like giving you the bird or, you know, engaging you in some way that is actively not great, then that's a different conversation. But purely just looking, I'm looking at you loudly, I don't understand, and I don't get it, and I don't know why this culture and this generation seems to be so fixated on other people and judgment. Like, for whatever reason, I think the defining characteristic of Gen Z is that we are terrified of judgment. We think judgment should be off the table. You're not allowed to judge someone. Don't judge me. Why are you mansplaining? Why are you judging these people? Why are you invading my personal peace? I hate to break it to you, but life is not peaceful. A lot of the time, life is strenuous and difficult and has hardships and has things we cannot control. And people staring at you is absolutely one of those things you cannot control. You have no authority or power over other people and how they look at you, how they perceive you. And I'm sorry if that really hurts your feelings. I don't mean it to, but loud looking really, it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be something you worry about. If you are confident in your relationship or who you are as a person and your style and how you present in public, it doesn't matter if random people stare at you. You know, I know some queer people who go out and dress in the most fantastical, incredible way. Maybe I don't necessarily want to wear it for myself, but you go. And if you're complaining about the loud looking, I'm sorry, but like, society isn't designed to change overnight. It's not designed to make everybody feel warm and cozy all of the time. We have social norms and we grow up in specific areas with language and culture and our background and our family. And those things really aren't going away anytime soon. So the best thing you can do is fortify yourself and secure yourself in who you are and what you do and how you present. So yikes. If you're someone who's worried about people loud looking at you, I hate to break it to you, but that's just life. So I don't know if this was necessarily helpful, but If you're from a generation that didn't know what loud looking is, now you know what it is. If you interact with Gen Zs, maybe, I don't know, be a little more cautious of how you stare at people or make it less obvious. Like, or just be you. I don't know. Just, you don't have to change for these people, but you can just understand them, and maybe that will help in some situations. Not sure. So yeah, let me know what you think of loud looking. I don't vibe with it. I don't believe that that's a thing. So anyway, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Life is good. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.